Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and pranams to all of you. Thank you all for joining in for our TLC. No, we are doing Bhagavad Gita today. Monday, Tuesday, we're doing Bhagavad Gita. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we need teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So today we will continue with chapter number 11 of the Bhagavad Gita, 11.46. We'll try and complete chapter number 11 today. And we'll also have our verse for the week. I hope everyone meditated on 11.55 in the last week. So this week we will meditate on a new verse which we will disclose at the end of the class. All right. So let's start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanyamanoਭीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरदुषे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यमीश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत्। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you all very much for joining in for our Bhagavad Gita study session today. We are on chapter number 11, the universal form. So we discussed how it was not in Arjuna's interest that he asked to see the universal form, right? Why did he ask for the universal form to be seen? He was actually having loving reciprocation with the Lord in terms of the Sakya Rasa as a friend, isn't it? Why did he want to actually see this? The universal form of the Lord. So Prabhupada explains in the purport, since it's been a while, so we'll just quickly try to run through. Prabhupada basically mentions in the purports, several of the purports, that Arjuna was very convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the highest form of Krishna that the devotees want to look at is the beautiful two-armed Sham Sundar form of Krishna. So why did Arjuna ask to see the universal form? Just to ensure that the people in common, that there are common masses, they don't believe anyone who claims themselves to be God, right? Some people, especially in South India, we were discussing the other day, they produce a lot of coins, vibhuti, and everything, and then they give it to all the people, and they claim themselves to be God, right? Nobody can become God who is just making some powder, right? Three, four things are very essential. One is the avatars, various incarnations of the Lord are mentioned in the scriptures. Right? Srimad Bhagavatam talks about 25 incarnations in Canto 1, chapter number 3, where it says Krishna is the souls of all incarnations. It's talking about Naranarayana Rishi, Sanat Kumaras, Matsya Kurma, Jayadevi Goswami talks about 10 primary incarnations, right? And in Bhagavatam only, Srila Vyasadeva mentions that the number of incarnations of the Lord are like the waves of the ocean. We cannot count it, right? But few incarnations are given just for us to meditate and just for us to understand the greatness of the Lord, right? So Prabhupada mentions in the purport also similar in so many similar lines, right? That the incarnation of the Lord has to be mentioned in the Vedic scriptures. One, two. Nobody can become God by performing yogasana or by performing meditation, right? The Lord is Lord at all times, right? Prabhupada gives example how Krishna defeated or killed Putana, right? Not just killed Putana, but gave her the role of a mother in the spiritual world, killed Agasura, killed so many demons, right? So the Lord is Lord whenever he appears, wherever he appears, whether he appears in this world or he's in the Goloka Vrindavan Dham, wherever he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot be born in this world and perfect one's life and become God, right? Prabhupada says that becoming God is not so cheap. That anybody who performs yogasana, some masters, some skill sets and becomes God. It's not possible. The Lord is Lord in all circumstances. And third thing Prabhupada mentions very beautifully is that when somebody comes to this material world, comes under the illusion of Maya, such person can never become God. That means what? When I'm in illusion, Maya is greater than me. Maya is overpowering me. And that's why I'm forgetting my constitutional position, right? But if I'm God and Maya is superpowering me, that means Maya is more powerful than Krishna, right? Which is very foolish to believe, right? Because Krishna says that this energy of mine is very difficult to overcome, but it is my energy, right? And Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His energy is Maya. Maya cannot overpower Krishna, but Maya can. Okay. So, but Maya can overpower me because I am the part and parcel of the. Okay. I'm just increasing the volume. Thank you. So Maya can overpower me because I am part and parcel of the Lord, but Maya cannot overpower Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose energy Maya is, right? So this entire 11th chapter is for us to understand the greatness of the Lord. The Lord is one. Ekala Ishwara Krishna Ara Sabha Bhritya. Everyone else is a servant. If anyone else claims to be Lord, you should ask them, show the universal form, become the lift up the Govardhan hill for 7 days and 7 nights. Right? Even the best of the yogis can only expand themselves to 8 forms, right? But Krishna expanded himself into 16,108 forms. In fact, millions and millions of forms, right? When he engaged in the Rasa Leela with the gopis, millions and millions of forms he took. And not only that, he was performing different activities with the different gopis, with the different queens at the same time. So that is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So on that note, let's continue from 11.46 of the Bhagavad Gita. I'll request devotees to raise your hands and then quickly we will start reading. We'll try to complete chapter number 11 today. Okay, 11.46. Yes, Sridhar Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam.
Kridinam kadinam chakrahastam ichchami tvam drishtumaham tadeva teneva rupena chadurbhujena sagasrabaho bhava vishwamurtaye. Synonymous. Hare Krishna. Kridinam with helmet, gadinam with club, chakrahastam disc in hand, ichchami I wish, tvam you, drishtam to see, aham I, tadeva in that position, Tena eva, in that Rupena form, Kachbujena, four-handed, Sagasra Bhuho, ho 1,000-handed-one, the Sagasra Baho, ho 1,000-handed-one, Bhava just become Vishwamurtaye, ho universal form. Hare Krishna, translation by Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form with helmeted head and with club wheel, conch and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form perfect. In Brahma Samhita 5.39 is stated
Ramurtishu kala
Rama
niyamena tishtan.
Dishyan. The Lord is externally situated in hundreds and thousands of forms, and the main form are those like Rama, Nrsimha, Narayana, etc. There are innumerable forms, but Arjuna knew that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Assuming his temporary universal form, he is now asking to see the form of Narayana, a spiritual form. The verse establishes without any doubt the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead and all other features originate from him. He is not different from his planetary expansions, and he is the God in any of his innumerable forms. In all these forms, he is fresh like a young man. That is the constant feature of Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who knows Krishna become free at once from all contamination of material world. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhu. Right? That's why Krishna is described as in Ishopanishad as apapa vidham, shuddham. Right? So Krishna is extremely pure and apapa vidham. That means even if somebody very sinful comes into contact with the Lord, either through the chanting of the holy names or by performing some devotional service to the Lord, what happens to that person? That person also automatically becomes pure, automatically becomes purified. That's why we say Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The marjanam or the cleansing process automatically begins when we come into contact with the Lord or his pure devotees, or we engage in the process of devotional service. Right? In so many ways, we can come in contact with the Supreme Lord. So here the context is Arjuna saw the universal form. He asked the Lord to show his universal form. In that form, millions and millions of devatas and the demons are rushing into the mouth, and you can see the entire Brahmanda in that one place, in that form of the Lord. And then he falls down unconscious. He's getting very bewildered. He actually falls down, pays obeisances, and he says, oh, I've called you, hey Krishna, hey Sakha, hey Madhava, like that. I have sat with you, I've slept with you, I've eaten with you. Oh, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I was having so much of an informal relationship with you. Please forgive me, oh Lord. Continuously he was paying obeisances to the Lord. Right? The Lord does not want his close devotees to have this kind of Aishwarya Bhav. Right? So then, after paying so many times obeisances, then he thinks, this is not the form that I'm really relishing. And then he asks Krishna, now let me see your four-handed form, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma form. Even this form is not the form that devotees really want to see, because this is also full of Aishwarya. Right? Devotees want to serve the Lord and always exchange loving reciprocation with the Lord, isn't it? So, after this very, very fierce form, very, very fearful form, Arjuna now asks Krishna to show his four-handed form, right? And in Bhagavatam, it is given in so many places that ete chamcha kalapumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are various incarnations. We know 6 incarnations of the Lord: Purusha Avatara, Leela Avatara, Guna Avatara, Manvantara Avatara, Shaktya Vesha Avatara, Yuga Avatara, right? In this way, Krishna comes down for various purposes. The primary of them being giving pleasure, giving protection to the pure devotees of the Lord, right? That is the primary purpose. And for other purposes also, Krishna descends. Just like the waves come up in the ocean, whenever Krishna wants, he descends and comes down in the form of an avatar. Avatar means one who comes down, one who descends from the spiritual world, isn't it? So now, having got this request from Arjuna to show his four-handed form, now Krishna is going to show his four-handed form, and he also is going to say that this four-handed form is so durlabha. He said the same thing for the universal form also. Nobody can actually see the universal form. It is because that jnana chakshushaha, that eye is to see this form, was given by Krishna to Arjuna. He could see the universal form. Now Krishna is going to again bestow another vision to Arjuna to see the four-handed form, right? But it is very easy to see the two-handed form, it looks like, right? No, we can see the two-handed form, but we cannot understand that that form belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Yoga Maya Samavritaha. If one is not completely a pure devotee of the Lord, one may see the form of the Lord yet not recognize, right? At least the four-handed form and the universal form, at least you know that, oh, this is the form of the Lord, right? But when someone sees the two-handed form without any love, devotion, without any sincerity, he will just think, okay, this is a two-handed boy, just like me, right? In that way, one commits aparad, right? That is why this durlabha form that is said, the two-handed form, which is durlabha to see, is to see in essence the form of the Lord, understanding the Lord to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Otherwise, with our material eyes, what we see is nothing, right? That's why Krishna is saying it is very difficult to see the universal form. It is more difficult, it is more durlabha to see, to have darshan of the four-handed form, and most durlabha is to have darshan of the Supreme Personality of God in his form as Krishna, and even more durlabha is to have darshan of the form of the Lord as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most munificent incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, let's see what Krishna says after having got this request from Arjuna. Okay, where is this? Yeah, okay, text number 47. Who'll read? Rajneesh Prabhu. Please go ahead.
माता जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Hare Krishna, Danat Pranam.
श्री भगवान उवाच मया प्रसन्ने त्वार्जुन
मया
रूपम्
प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदं रूपं
मया
परं
प्रसन्न
दर्शितमात्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमाद्यं यन्मे त्वदन्येन दृष्टपूर्वम्. Read, Prabhu. You read the verse again.
श्री भगवान उवाच मया प्रसन्नेन त्वार्जुनेदं रूपं पारमदर्शितमात्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वमनन्तमाद्यं यन्मे त्वदन्येन दृष्टपूर्वम्।
Synonyms.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Maya by me, Prasannana, happily, Tava unto you, Arjuna, O Arjun, Idam, this Rupam, form, Param, transcendental, Darshitam, shown, Atma Yoga, by my internal potency, Teja, Mayam, full of effulgence, Vishwam, the entire universe, Anantam, unlimited, Adyam, original, Yat,
Adyam.
that, Yat, that which, me, my, Svat, Svat, and Anin, Svat, Anina, besides you, Na Drasta Purvam, no one has previously seen. Translation and purport by Sri Prabhupada, Sri Prabhupada ki Jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjun, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. Purpose. Arjuna wanted to see the universal form of Supreme Lord. So Lord Krishna, out of his mercy upon his devotee Arjuna, showed his universal form, full of effulgence and affluence. This form was glaring like the sun, and its many faces were rapidly changing. Krishna showed his form just to satisfy the desire of his temple. This form was manifested by Krishna through his internal potency, which is inconceivable by human speculation. No one had seen this universal form of the Lord before Arjuna. But because this the form was shown to Arjuna, other devotees in the heavenly planets and in other planets in the outer space could also see it. They had not seen it before, but because of Arjuna, they were also able to see it. In other words, all the disciplic devotees of the Lord could see the universal form which was shown to Arjuna by the mercy of someone has commented that this form was shown to Duryodhana also when Krishna went to Duryodhana to negotiate for peace. Unfortunately, Duryodhana did not accept the peace offer, but at that time Krishna manifested some of his universal forms, but those forms are different from this one shown to Arjuna. It is clearly said that no one had ever seen this form before. Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So different forms. It's not that Krishna has to show that same universal form where there's so many demons are running out and all that. Right? Whenever Krishna wants, he can show any form of his. Right? These are manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and these are not eternal forms in the spiritual world. So whatever form Krishna wants to show according to time, place, and circumstances, right? Sometimes to bewilder, sometimes to make it clear for a particular devotee, sometimes to just fulfill the desire of the devotee, right? Krishna may choose to show different forms like that. Okay, text number 48. Who will read? Shobha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Srila
Hare
Prabhupada
Krishna.
ki jai. न वेदयज्ञाध्ययनैः सधानैः न च क्रियाभिर्न तपोभिरुग्रैः एवं रूपा शाक्य अहं नृलोके दृष्टुं त्वम् अन्येन कुरु प्रवीरा. Synonymous translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices,
Did you
nor by
read the
charity.
synonyms, Mataji?
Haribol, I must. Synonymous with Srila Prabhupada. Na, never. Veda yajna by sacrifice. Adya na, adya ya nahi. Or Vedic study. Na, never. Dha nahi. By charity. Na, never. Cha, also kriyabhi. By pious activities. Na, never. Tapobhir. By serious penances. Ukrahi, severe. Evam rupaha. In this form. Sakyaha can. Aham, I, nirloke. In this material world. Trishtum, be seen. Tvam, that than you, anyena by another. Kuru Pravira, O best among the Kuru warriors. Translation, O best of the Kuru warriors, no one best before you has never ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances, can I be seen in this form in the material world. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The divine vision is this connection should be clearly understood. Who can have divine vision? Divine means godly. Unless one attains the status of divinity as a demigod, he cannot have divine vision. And what is a demigod? It is stated in the Vedic scriptures that those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu are demigods. Vishnu bhaktaha smrito dhaivaha. Those who are atheistics, that is, who do not believe in Vishnu or who recognizes only the impersonal part of Krishna as the supreme, cannot have the divine vision. It is not possible to decry Krishna and at the same time have the divine vision. One cannot have the divine vision without becoming divine. In other words, those who have divine vision can also see like Arjuna. The Bhagavad Gita gives the description of the universal form, although this description was unknown to everyone before Arjuna. Now one can have some idea of the Vishwarupa after this incident. Those who are actually divine can see the universal form of the Lord, but one cannot be divine without being a pure devotee of Krishna. The devotees, however, who are actually in the divine nature and who have divine vision are not very much interested in seeing the universal form of the Lord. As described in the previous verse, Arjuna desired to see the four-handed form of Lord Krishna as Vishnu, and he was actually afraid of the universal form. In this verse, there are some significant words, just like Vedanta Yajnakya Yayai Nahi, which refers to the studying of Vedic literatures and the subject matters of the sacrificial regulations. Veda refers to all kinds of Vedic literature, such as four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva, and the 18 Puranas, the Upanishads, and the Vedanta Sutras. One can study these at home or anywhere else, but similarly, there are
Sutras.
refers to charity which is offered to the suitable parties, such as those who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the Brahmanas, and the Vaishnavas. Similarly, pious activities refers to the Agnihotra and the prescribed duties of the different castes, and the voluntary acceptance of some bodily pains is called tapasya. So one can perform all these, can accept bodily penances, give charity, study the Vedas, etc. But unless he is a devotee like Arjuna, it is not possible to see the universal form. Those who are impersonalists are also imagining that they are seeing the universal form of the Lord. But from Bhagavad Gita, we understand that the impersonalists who are devotees, they therefore they are unable to see the universal form of the Lord. There are many persons who create incarnations. They falsely claim an ordinary human to be an incarnation, but this is also foolishness. We should follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, there is no possibility of attaining perfect spiritual knowledge. Although Bhagavad Gita is considered the preliminary study of the science of God, still it is so perfect that it enables one to distinguish what is what. The followers of the pseudo incarnation may say that they have also seen the transcendental incarnation of God, the universal form, but that is unacceptable because it is clearly stated here that unless one becomes a devotee of Krishna, one cannot see the universal form of God. So, one first of all has to become a pure devotee of Krishna, then he can claim that he can show the universal form of what he has seen. A devotee of Krishna cannot accept false incarnations or followers of false incarnations. Hari Bol Dandot Pranamacharya. Thank you.
Thank you. Bhaktyanam avijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah. Right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I can be known as I am only by the pure devotees of the Lord. Right? To adore all the others, I hide myself by the curtain of Yoga Maya. Right? So in that way, only a pure devotee can understand who is the supreme personality of Godhead. Although many may get to see, like in the previous verse only we saw the Prabhupada was saying that even Arjuna, even Duryodhana saw the form of the Lord, but he could not accept the word of the Lord to give even 5 villages to the Pandavas. What is the use of seeing the Lord when one is not able to even follow the instructions of the Lord and one is committing aparad? Right? So better not to see the Lord, but rather serve the Lord and in a way that the Lord will see us. Right? That will be more beneficial than trying to see the Lord. Okay, text number 49. Who will read? Okay, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams.
Hare Krishna, pranam.
Loka 49. माते व्यतामचा विमूढभावो दृष्ट्वा रूपं घोरम् इदृन्ममेदम् व्यपेतभिप्रीतमना पुनस्त्वं तदेव मे रूपम् idam प्रपश्य. Vyata, trouble, ma, let it not be. Sure, also, vimuda bhavaha, bewilderment, drishva, by seeing, rupam, form, goram, horrible, idrik, as it is, mama, my, idam, this, vyapeta bihi, free from all fear, pritamanaha, pleased in mind, punaha, again, swam, you, that, eva, thus, me, my, rupam, form, idam, this, prapashya, just see. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Purport. The beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was worried about killing Bhishma and Drona, his worshipful grandfather and master. But Krishna said that he need not be afraid of killing his grandfather. When the sons of Dhritarashtra tried to disrobe Draupadi in the assembly of the Kurus, Bhishma and Drona were silent and For such negligence of duty, they should be killed. Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna just to show him that these people were already killed for their unlawful action. That saying was shown to Arjuna because devotees are always peaceful and they cannot perform such horrible actions. The purpose of the revelation of the universal form was shown. Now Arjuna wanted to see the four-armed form, and Krishna showed him. A devotee is not much interested in the universal form, for it does not enable one to reciprocate loving feelings. Either a devotee wants to offer his respectful worshipful feelings, or he wants to see the two-handed Krishna form so that he can reciprocate in loving service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So devotee does not want to see the Lord, nor does the devotee want to check, is he the real Supreme Personality of Godhead? Let him show his form, then I will believe. No. A devotee is already sold out to the Lord. Whatever form you want to show me, I'm okay. Whichever loka you want me to stay in, I'm okay. As long as I'm given the opportunity to render devotional service. As long as I can remember you and serve you, O Lord, I don't mind wherever I am. Whatever form I may take, whichever loka I am, as long as I'm engaged in devotional service, it is okay with me. So that is the mood of a devotee. Okay, text number 50. Now, we remember the context here that Sanjaya is actually, Sanjaya has got this vision by the grace of Vyasadeva that he is actually telling Dhritarashtra whatever is happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, although he is also situated in the palace with Dhritarashtra, right, in Hastinapur. But he is able to have a view of what is happening in Kurukshetra, in the battlefield of Kurukshetra by the grace of Vyasadeva, right? It started, the first chapter it started with Dhritarashtra asking, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yutsavaha Mahamaka Pandava Sheva Kima Kurvata Sanjaya. What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? Like that, when Dhritarashtra asked, then the entire thing Sanjaya is actually narrating. Now Sanjaya is narrating how, what we also saw in the 11th chapter also, Sanjaya was narrating to Dhritarashtra how Krishna is showing the universal form. And by the grace of Vyasadeva, even Sanjaya could see the universal form. That's why Sanjaya tells in the end, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurtara, Tatra Shrir Vijaya Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. One is able to identify and come to the right conclusion only when one has the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. One cannot see and understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi, Navavet Grahim Indriyehi, Sevon Mukhehi Jivado, Swayam Eva Suratyadaha. By simply depending on Guru, following instructions of Guru, pleasing the Guru, by the blessings of Guru, one can understand Krishna, one can understand Gauranga Mahaprabhu, right? So that is what is the lesson that is taught here, right? How could Sanjaya understand, how could Arjuna understand, and how could Duryodhana not understand, having seen the same form, the same universal form, or a different universal form for that reason, right? So why couldn't he understand? Because he wanted to see what he wanted to see. Right? Sometimes you want to get something done and you see only that, right? As well as Radhanath Swami Maharaj was mentioning in a class, that when we are wearing a yellow tinted glass, we will see everything yellow. Although it must be night, green vegetation, greenery around. But if we are wearing a yellow color glass, we will see everything yellow. No? So similarly, although Krishna is showing universal form to Duryodhana, to Sanjaya, to Arjuna and Sanjaya are able to pick up because they are having the mind of submissiveness. They are submissively inquiring from their guru, right? Whether it is Vyasadeva or Krishna himself for Arjuna, they are submissively inquiring and hence they are getting the correct knowledge which is transforming their life. Whereas Dhritarashtra also, once he wants to hear on what my sons are doing, what they are doing, will they win in the battle, right? So aham mameti, if that is our intention, what I will get now, when will I get this, right? Even in the spiritual parlance, if you are only hankering, I want Krishna Prem, right? I have been doing chanting 20 years, I want Krishna Prem, I want this, I want that. As much as we want, we are situated in I platform, we will never grow in devotional service. The moment we think that whatever, let it happen as per Krishna's mercy, I am willing to chant Hare Krishna, depend on Guru and Gauranga, then everything, better plan will manifest for us, right? Otherwise, all our plans will be futile. Why? Because our material brain, the plans that we are making are material plans to satisfy some material desires, right? So they are all useless. They are all useless. Even our spiritual desires are useful and helpful to advance us in Krishna consciousness Only when we are depending on the Lord, right? Sometimes when we demand from the Lord also, then it is not pure devotional service. That I am doing this, you give me this. I am chanting Hare Krishna, you give me this. You give me name, fame, glory. You give me taste in chanting Hare Krishna. Why am I not getting taste, right? So it is up to Krishna what he will give, but it is up to you what you want to continue the practice of Krishna, Krishna consciousness or chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the pleasure of the Lord. So that is the most important thing here. What is my consciousness in which I am performing even spiritual tasks? Okay, text number 50. Let's see what Sanjay is saying. Deval Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanut Pranam. Sanjaya Uvacha इत्यर्जुनं वासुदेवस्तथोक्त्वा स्वकं रूपं दर्शयाम आश भूयः आश्वासयामाश च भीतं मेनं भूत्वा पुनः सौम्य वपुर्महात्मा. Synonyms: Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya said, iti, thus, Arjunam, unto Arjuna, Vasudeva, Krishna, tatha, in that way, Uktva, speaking, Swakam, his own, Rupam, form, Darshayam, Asha, showed, Bhuyah, again, Ashvasayam, Asha, Asa, encouraged, Cha, also, Bhitam, fearful, Enam, him, Bhutva, becoming, Punah, again, Saumya Vapuhu, the beautiful form, Mahatma, the great one. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna have spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real form, four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. Purport: when Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, he first of all appeared as four-armed Narayana. But when he was requested by his parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child in appearance. Similarly, Krishna knew that Arjuna was not interested in seeing a four-handed form, but since Arjuna asked to see his four-handed form, Krishna also showed him this form again and then showed himself in his two-handed form. The word Saumya Vapu is very significant. Saumya Vapu is a very beautiful form. It is known as the most beautiful form. When he was present, everyone was attracted simply by Krishna's form. And because Krishna is the director of the universe, he just banished the fear of Arjuna, his devotee, and showed him again his beautiful form of Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita 5.38, it is stated, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Only a person whose eyes are smeared with the ointment of love can see the beautiful form of Sri Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dhanut Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, Prema Anjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hradeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Gunaswarupam Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, Brahmaji is actually telling this prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Wherein Brahma is also saying you need to have the eyes which is anointed with love. Right? The kajal of love has to be applied in our eyes. Only then we can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead and perceive him as the Lord and also understand, right? What am I supposed to do now to please the Lord, right? Otherwise, when we are doing I, then we will only think, how can the Lord please me? Right? The Lord has to give me darshan. The Lord has to come and give me this. The Lord has to give me that. Then we develop this complaint mentality. I'm chanting. Why am I getting health problems? Why am I getting all these problems? This, that. Right? So either we can have a grateful heart that at least I have got the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which can give me eternal bliss. The more I practice Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting, the more it is going to give me bliss sooner or later, depending on my level of dedication, my level of sincerity, my level of surrenderance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the other hand, we keep complaining, why is this is not okay, that is not okay, that things are not meant to be okay in this material world. This material world is dukhalim and ashashvatam. If you are expecting happiness in this world, then it is our folly, it is our own mistake, right? It is not about that we are not, Krishna is not fulfilling our desires. Right? Krishna is actually fulfilling our desires because we wanted to enjoy independently. We are in this material world. And it is the nature of the material world that we have to be suffering. And we will get happiness, we'll get suffering, we'll get happiness, we'll get suffering. Ultimately, we'll get so exhausted that we don't want the pains and the pleasures of this material world. Right? We don't want the pains and the pleasures of this material world. Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhakti Rahituki Tvai. Then we realize that the only thing that is worth aspiring for, the only thing that is worth desiring for is Bhavatat Bhakti Rahituki Tvai, to be eternally engaged in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing else is worth desiring even. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, text number 51. Okay, Moshmi Mataji, go ahead. Arjuna Vacha.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Arjun Uvacha Vashtedang Manusang Rupang Tava Samyang Janardana Idani Masti Idani Masmi
Idanimasmi samvritaha sacheta prakritim gataha.
Sacheta Prakriting Gataha. Synonymous. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjun said, Drishtva, seeing, idam, this, Manusam, human, Rupam, form, Tava, your, Saumyam, very beautiful, Janardam, O chaster of the enemies. Idam, idanim, now, asmi, I am. Sambhartha, stated. Sambhartha stated. In my consciousness, prakritim, to my own nature, gataha, return. When Arjun thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, "Oh, Janardhan, see this human-like form, so very beautiful. I am now composed in mind, and I am restored in my original nature." Perfect. Here the word Manusam Rupam clearly indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be originally two-headed. Those who derived Krishna as if he were an ordinary person are shown here to be ignorant of his divine nature. If Krishna is like an ordinary human being, then how is it possible for him to show the universal form and again to show the four-handed Narayan form? So it is very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita that one who thinks that Krishna is an ordinary person and who misguides the reader by claiming that it is the impersonal Brahman within Krishna speaking is doing the greatest in the injustice. Krishna is actually shown his universal form and his four-handed Vishnu form. So how can he be an ordinary human being? A pure devotee is not confused by misguiding commentaries on Bhagavad Gita because he knows that what what is what. The original verses of Bhagavad Gita are as clear as the sun. They do not require lamplight from foolish commentaries.
Yeah,
Hare
thank you
Krishna.
so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So, even in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually told Sarva Bhattacharya the same thing, right? And even earlier, when that Keshav Kashmiri, right? He was explaining, in so many varieties of ways, he was glorifying the Ganges, right? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying that the Vedas are so crystal clear, right? But I'm not able to understand your explanation, which is clouding the real purport of the Vedanta, right? So in this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he shows his form, the pure devotees see him, they relish this beautiful form of the Lord, they render service to the Lord, and in this way, everything happens like that, right? But when the devotee actually, when he's not in that particular, Arjuna is not situated as, he's not it's not a person in illusion, right? He's a pure devotee of the Lord. He is an eternal Parshad of the Lord, who's used to talking to Krishna as a friend, So suddenly when he saw this universal form, or even the four-handed form, it was very bewildering for him. But then when he saw this two-handed form of the Lord, then he's calling it Saumya Vapuhu. Saumya Vapu means very, very beautiful form that is actually pleasing to the devotee, right? Because that kind of form is when there can be Adan Pradhan, there can be loving reciprocation between the Lord and the devotee. All right, so let's move ahead. Text number 52. Let me share my screen. Text number 52. Okay. Okay, anyone else wants to read who's not read can raise your hand. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Sudurdarsham idam rupam drishtavanasi yanmama deva apiyasya rupasya nityam darshana kankshinaha. Synonyms of word-to-word translation. Sri Bhagavan Vacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Sudurdarsham, very difficult to see. Idam, this. Rupam, form. Drishtavanasi, as you have seen. Yat, which. Mama, of mine. Devaha, the demigods. Api, also. Asya, this. Rupasya, form. Nityam, eternally. Darshana kankshinaha, aspiring to see. Okay, Anjana Mataji, go ahead. Please read from the translation.
Translation, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigod are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Did you read the synonyms, Mataji?
Synonyms, Mataji?
Yeah.
Okay. Synonyms. Actually, Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of God, had said, Sudarshan Sham, very difficult to see. Idam, this Rupam form, Drishtuan, see as you have seen, yet which Mama of mine, Deva, the demigod, Api also, Asya, this Rupasya, form Nityam, eternally, Darshana, Kankshina, aspiring to see. Translation, the Supreme Personality of God had said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigod are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form which is so dear. Purport. In the 48th verse of this chapter, Lord Krishna concluded revealing his universal form and informed Arjuna that this form is not possible to be seen by so many pious activities, sacrifices, etc. And now here the word Darsham is used, indicated that Krishna's two-headed form is still more confidential. One may be able to see the universal form of Krishna by adding a little tinge of devotional service to various activities like penances, Vedic study, and philosophical speculation. It may be possible, but without a tinge of bhakti, one cannot see that has already been explained. Still beyond that universal form, the form of Krishna with two hands is still more difficult to see, even for demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva. They desire to see him, and we have evidence in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when he was supposed to be in the womb of his mother Devaki, all the demigods from heaven came to see the marvel of Krishna, and they offered nice prayers to the Lord. Although he was not at that time visible to them, they waited to see him. A foolish person may deride him, thinking him an ordinary person, and may offer respect to not to him but to the impersonal something within him. But these are all nonsensical postures. Krishna in his two-armed form is actually desired to be seen by demigod like Brahma and Shiva. In Bhagavad Gita 9.11, it is also confirmed, Avijananti mam mudha manusham tanum ashritam. He is not visible to the foolish person who deride him, Krishna's body, as confirmed by Brahma Samhita and confirmed by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita. He is completely spiritual and full of bliss and eternity. His body is never like a material body, but for some who make a study of Krishna by reading Bhagavad Gita or similar Vedic scripture, Krishna is a problem for one using a material process. Krishna is considered to be a great historical personality and very learned philosopher, but he is an ordinary man. And even though he was so powerful, he had to accept a material body. Ultimately, they think that the absolute absolute truth is impersonal. Therefore, they think that from his impersonal feature, he assumed a personal feature attached to material nature. This is very materialistic calculation of the Supreme Lord. Another calculation is speculative. Those who are in search of knowledge also speculate on Krishna and consider him to be less important than the universal form of the Supreme. The something that the universal form of Krishna, which was manifested to Arjuna, is more important than his personal form. According to them, the personal form of Supreme is something imaginary. They believe that in the ultimate issue, the absolute truth is not person, but the transcendental process is described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4. To hear about Krishna from authorities, that is actual Vedic process, and those who are actually in the Vedic line hear about Krishna from authority. And by repeated hearing about him, Krishna becomes dear as we have several times discussed. Krishna is covered by his Yogamaya potency. He is not be seen or revealed to anyone and everyone. Only by one of whom he reveals himself can he be seen. This is confirmed in Vedic literature for one who is surrendered soul. The absolute truth can actually be understood. The transcendentalist by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to Krishna can have his spiritual eye open and can see Krishna by revelation. Such a revelation is not possible even the demigods. Therefore, it is difficult even the demigod to understand Krishna, and the advanced demigods are always in hope of seeing Krishna in his two-handed form. The conclusion is that although to see the universal form of Krishna is very, very difficult and not possible for anyone and everyone, it is still more difficult to understand his personal form as Shyama Sundara.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Is there anything else? That's it, right? The purport is over. Okay. So, thank you, Mataji. So, very, very wonderful purport, right? That's what we discussed in length already. That universal form of the Lord itself is very, very durdarsham, very, very difficult to behold, and even greater than the universal form of the Lord, or even more confidential than the form of the Lord is the universal form of the Lord is the four-handed form, which Arjuna wants to see after this. And even more confidential than the four-handed form is the form of the Lord as Shyama Sundar Bhagavan, right? Venum Konanta Aravinda Dalayaksham. The form in which Krishna is playing the flute, he's calling his cows for grazing, he's calling the cows back after that. And then Krishna is making the gopis dance by playing so many tunes on his flute. So this is the two-handed form that is most difficult to understand, and only the most pure devotees of the Lord get darshan of this form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so now the last two verses. Okay, the last two verses. Who will read now? Okay, Nisha Mataji can read and Anusha Mataji can read. Okay, Nisha Mataji, go ahead.
दंडवत प्रणाम सभी को.
Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण दंडक प्रणाम। ना हम
बहुत
वेदेर तपसा।
बात में आए आप क्लास में।
जी सॉरी, अब मैं रेगुलर रहने की कोशिश करूंगी।
धन्यवाद।
ना
प्लीज पढ़िए।
ना हम वेदैर्न तपसा न दानेन चेज्जया शक्य एवं विधो द्रष्टुम दृष्टवानसि मां यथा। Synonyms. Na means never. Aham, I. Vedaya, by study of the Vedas. Na, never. Tapasa, by serious finances. Na, never. Danena, by charity. Na, never. Cha, also. Tijaya, Ijaya, by worship. Sakya, it is possible. Shakya, it is possible. Evam, Vividha, like this. Drashtum, to see. Drashtvam, seeing. Asi, you are. Ma'am, me. Mama, oh sorry.
हाँ
Mama, me. Etad, as. Translation. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious finances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. Purport. Srila Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Krishna first appeared before his parents Devaki and Vasudeva in a four-handed form, and then he transformed himself into the two-handed form. This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists or who are devoid of devotional service. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of grammatical knowledge or mere academic qualifications, Krishna is not possible to understand, nor is he to be understood by persons who officially go to the temple to offer worship. They make their visit, but they cannot understand Krishna as he is. Krishna can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as explained by Krishna himself in the next verse. Text number 54. Bhaktya
I was
Tanyaha Bhaktya
yes Mataji, you can
Ahamevam
continue.
Vinam
Hare Krishna
Jnatum
Krishna Krishna
Drashtum
Hare
Charatad.
Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritah. Right, so Krishna is saying, I will be revealing myself only to those who actually practice devotional service, and there is no other way by which I'll be able to. Some devotees can only devotees can understand me. No one else will be able to understand me or understand me in complete realization, right? So that is what it is. And then let's move forward. Text number 54. Okay, Nisha Mataji, go ahead.
Dandat
Text number
Pranam
50.
Sabhi ko. Bhaktya
Hare
Bhaktya Tananya Shakya Ahamevam Vidhorjuna Jnatum Drashtum Cha Tattvena Praveshtum Cha Parantapa. Synonyms. Bhaktya, by devotional service to, but Ananya, without being mixed with predative activities or speculative knowledge. Shakya, possible. Aham, I, Evam, Vividha, like this. Arjuna, O Arjuna, Jantam, to know. Gyatam, to know. Drashtum, to see. Cha and Tattvena, in fact. Pravishtum, to enter into. Cha, also. Param, tapa, O subduer of the enemy. Translation. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Maharaj ki Jai. Sorry. My dear
Srila
Arjuna,
Prabhupada
only
ki Jai. Translation and
Jai.
purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yes, Mataji, go
Jai.
ahead.
Sorry. By dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understand as I am standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Purport. Krishna can be understood only by the process of undivided devotional service.
he explicitly explains this in this verse so that unauthorized commentators who try to understand Bhagavad Gita by the speculative process will know that they are simply wasting their time. No one can understand Krishna or how he came from parents in a 400 form and at once changed himself into a 200 form. These things are very difficult to understand by study of the Vedas or by philosophical speculation. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that no one can see him or enter into understanding of these matters. Those who, however, are very experienced students of Vedic literature can learn about him from the Vedic literature in so many ways. There are so many rules and regulations, and if one at all wants to understand Krishna, he must follow the regulative principles described in the authoritative literature. One can perform penance in accordance with those principles. For example, to undergo serious penances, one may observe fasting on Janmashtami, the day on which Krishna appeared, and on the 2 days of Ekadashi, the 11th day after the new moon, and the 11th day after the full moon. As far as charity is concerned, it is plain that charity should be given to the devotees of Krishna who are engaged in his devotional service to spread the Krishna philosophy or Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Krishna consciousness is a benediction to humanity. Lord Chaitanya was appreciated by Rupa Goswami as the most munificent man of charity because love of Krishna, which is very difficult to achieve, was distributed freely by him. So, if one gives some amount of his money to persons involved in distributing Krishna consciousness, that charity given to spread Krishna consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. And if one worship as prescribed in the temples in India, there is always some statue, usually of Vishnu or Krishna. That is a chance to progress by offering worship and respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the beginners in devotional service to the Lord, temple worship is essential, and this is confirmed in the Vedic literature श्वेतोत्तर उपनिषद 6.23 यस्देव परा भक्तिर यथा देवे तथा गुरु तस्यैते कथिता ही अर्थ
Artha.
अर्थः
Prakashan.
प्रकाशन्ते आत्मनः. One who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord and is directed by the spiritual master in whom he has similar unflinching faith can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by revelation. One cannot understand Krishna by mental speculation. For one who does not take personal training under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. The word "to" is specifically used here to indicate that no other process can be used, can be recommended, or can be successful in understanding Krishna. The personal forms of Krishna, the two-handed form and the four-handed, are described as Sudurdarsham, very difficult to see. They are completely different from the temporary universal form shown to Arjuna. The four-handed form of Narayana and the two-handed form of Krishna are eternal and transcendental, whereas the universal form exhibited to Arjuna is temporary. The words Tad Ananya Na Drashtam Purvam, verse number 47, state that before Arjuna, no one had seen that universal form. Also, they suggest that amongst the devotees, there was no necessity of showing it. That form was exhibited by Krishna at the request of Arjuna, so that in the future, when one represents himself as an incarnation of God, people can ask to see the universal form. The word Na used repeatedly in the previous verse indicates that one should not be very much proud of such credentials as an academic education in Vedic literature. One must take to the devotional service of Krishna. Only then can one attempt to write commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Krishna changes from the universal form to the four-handed form of Narayana and then to his own natural form of 2 hands. This indicates that the 400 forms and other forms mentioned in Vedic literature are all emanations of the original 2-handed Krishna. He is the origin of all emanations. Krishna is distinct even from these forms. What to speak of impersonal conception? As far as the 400 forms of Krishna are concerned, it is stated clearly that even the most identical 400 form of Krishna, which is known as Mahavishnu, who is lying on the cosmic ocean from whose breathing so many innumerable universes are passing out and entering, is also an expansion of the Supreme Lord, as stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.48. यस्यायिका निवस्थिता कलम अथवलम.
Oh, sorry. यस्यैकनिश्वसितकालमतावलम्ब्य जीवन्ति लोमविलजा जगदण्डनाथाः विष्णुर्महान् स यस्य कलाविशेषो गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि.
धन्यवाद, बहुत अच्छा गाया. The Mahavishnu, into whom all the innumerable universes enter and from whom they come forth again simply by his breathing process, is a plenary expansion of Krishna. Therefore, I worship Govinda, Krishna, the cause of all causes. Therefore, the one should conclusively worship the personal form of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has eternal bliss and knowledge. He is the source of all forms of Vishnu. He is the source of all forms of incarnation, and he is the original Supreme Personality, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. In the Vedic literature, Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.1, the following statement appears.
सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांत वेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धि साक्षिणे.
I offer my respectful obeisances into Krishna, who has a transcendental form of bliss, eternity, and knowledge. I offer my respect to him because understanding him means understanding the Vedas, and he is therefore the supreme spiritual master. Then it is said, Krishna Vai Paramaha Daivatam. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.3. Eko Vasi Sarva Gaha Krishna. That one Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and he is worshipable. Eko pi san buddhaya yo vibhati. Vibhuti. Krishna is one, but he is manifested in unlimited forms and expanded incarnations. Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.21.
The Brahma Samhita says 5.1 Ishwaraha Parama Krishnaha Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govindaha Sarvakarana Karanam. Mataji, you are muted. Please unmute yourself. The Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, who has a body of eternity, knowledge and bliss. He has no beginning, for he is the beginning of everything. He is the
Mataji, getting muted again and again. He is the cause of all causes.
Elsewhere it is said,
Yatra Vatirnam Krishnakyam Param Brahma Narakriti.
The Supreme Absolute Truth is a person. His name is Krishna, and he sometimes descends on this earth. Similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find a description of all kinds of incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in this list, the name of Krishna also appears. But then it is said that the Krishna is not an incarnation of God, but it is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead himself.
Ete chamchakala pumshaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam.
Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Matta Parantaram Nanyat There is nothing superior to my form as the personality of Godhead Krishna. He also says elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Adiri Devanam, I am the origin of all demigods. And after understanding Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, Arjuna also confirms this in the following words, Parama
Param Brahma.
Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. I now fully understand that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, and that you are the refuge of everything. Therefore, the universal form which Krishna showed to Arjuna is not the original form of God. The original is the Krishna form, the universal form, which its thousands and thousands of heads and hands is manifest just to draw the attention of those who have no love for God. It is not God's original form. The universal form is not attractive for pure devotees who are in love with the Lord in different transcendental relationships. The Supreme Godhead exchanges transcendental love in his original form of Krishna. Therefore, to Arjuna, who was so intimately related with Krishna in friendship, this form of the universal manifestation was not pleasing. Rather, it was fearful. Arjuna, who was a constant companion of Krishna's, must have had transcendental eyes. He was not an ordinary man. Therefore, he was not captivated by the universal form. This form may seem wonderful to persons who are involved in elevating themselves by repetitive activities, but to persons who are engaged in devotional service, the two-handed form of Krishna is the most dear.
Hari Bol. Vishnu Mataji ki
धन्यवाद.
jai. You join us every day, Mataji. Very nicely, you read.
धन्यवाद
So,
प्रणाम धन्यवाद.
Hare Krishna. So,
Om
so in this purport, very very clearly, Prabhupada has established that who can understand Krishna? Only that person who's engaged in devotional service can develop the eyes to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Very very clearly, it is mentioned. Right? One's eyes has to be anointed with the love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Only then it is possible to understand that Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, let's move forward to the last verse of this chapter. Okay. Who's reading this? This was the words we meditated last week. Right? Anusha Mataji, go ahead. Text number 55.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Tanvat pranams. Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
मत्कर्म कृण्मत् परमो मद्भक्त संगवर्जित निर्वैर सर्वभूतेषु यसमामेति पांडव. Synonyms: mat karma krit, engaged in doing my work. Mat paramaha, considering me the supreme. Mat bhaktaha, engaged in my devotional service. Sangha varjitaha, freed from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation. Nirvairaha, without an enemy. Sarva bhuteshu, among all living entities. Yah, one who. Sa, he, mam, unto me. Eti, comes. Pandava, O son of Pandu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculations, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Anyone who wants to approach the supreme of all the personalities of Godhead on the Krishna Loka planet in the spiritual sky and be intimately connected with the supreme personality Krishna must take this formula as stated by the supreme himself. Therefore, this verse is considered the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over nature and who do not know of the real spiritual life. The Bhagavad Gita is meant to show how one can understand his spiritual existence and his eternal relationship with the supreme spiritual personality, and to teach one how to go back home, back to Godhead. Now, here is the verse which clearly explains the process by which one can attain success in his spiritual activity, devotional service. As far as work is concerned, one should transfer his energy entirely to Krishna conscious activities. As stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.255, अनाशक्त्यस्य विषयन् यथार्हम् उपयुञ्जितः निर्बन्ध कृष्ण सम्बन्धे युक्त वैराग्यम् उच्यते. No work should be done by any man except in relationship to Krishna. This is called Krishna karma. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the result of his work. The result should be done only for him. For example, one may be engaged in business, but to transform that activity into Krishna consciousness, one has to do business for Krishna. If Krishna is the proprietor of the business, then Krishna should enjoy the profit of the business. If a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all this to Krishna, he can do it. This is for Krishna. Instead of constructing a big building for his sense gratification, he can construct a nice temple for Krishna, and he can install the deity of Krishna and arrange for the deity's service as is outlined in the authorized books of devotional service. This is all Krishna karma. One should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be offered to Krishna, and one should accept as prasadam the remnants of offerings to Krishna. If one constructs a very big building for Krishna and installs the deity of Krishna, one is not prohibited from living there, but it is understood that the proprietor of the building is Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. If, however, one is not able to construct a temple for Krishna, one can engage himself in cleansing the temple of Krishna. That is also Krishna karma. One can cultivate a garden. Anyone who has land in India, at least any poor man has a certain amount of land, can utilize that for Krishna by growing flowers to offer him. One can sow tulsi plants because tulsi leaves are very important, and Krishna has recommended this in Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam phalam toyam. Krishna desires that one offer him either a leaf or a flower or a fruit or little water, and by such an offering he is satisfied. This leaf specially refers to the tulsi. So one can sow tulsi and pour water on the plant. Thus, even the poorest man can engage in the service of Krishna. These are some of the examples of how one can engage in working for Krishna. The word Mat Paramaha refers to one who considers the association of Krishna in his supreme abode to be the highest perfection of life. Such a person does not wish to be elevated to the higher planets such as the moon or sun or heavenly planets or even the highest planet of the universe, Brahmaloka. He has no attraction for that. He is only attracted to being transferred to the spiritual sky. And even in the spiritual sky, he is not satisfied with the merging into the glowing Brahmajyoti effulgence, for he wants to enter the highest spiritual planet, namely Krishna Loka, Goloka, Vrindavana. He has full knowledge of that planet and therefore he is not interested in any other. As indicated by the word Mat Bhaktaha, he fully engages in devotional service, specifically in the 9 processes of devotional engagement: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering prayers, carrying out the orders of the Lord, making friends with Him, and surrendering everything to Him. One can engage in all 9 devotional processes, or 8 or 7, or at least in one, and that will surely make one perfect. The term Sangha Varjitaha is very significant. One should disassociate himself from persons who are against Krishna. Not only are the atheistic persons against Krishna, but so also are those who are attracted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. Therefore, the pure form of devotional service is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 as follows. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadya anavratam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktir uttama. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami clearly states that if anyone wants to execute unalloyed devotional service, he must be freed from all kinds of material contamination. He must be freed from the association of persons who are addictive to fruitive activities and mental speculation. When freed from such unwanted association and from the contamination of material desires, one favorably cultivates knowledge of Krishna. That is called pure devotional service. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Haribhakti Vilasa 11.676. One should think of Krishna and act for Krishna favorably, not unfavorably. Kamsa was an enemy of Krishna's. From the very beginning of Krishna's birth, Kamsa planned in so many ways to kill him. And because he was always unsuccessful, he was always thinking of Krishna. Thus, while working, while eating, and while sleeping, he was always Krishna conscious in every respect. But that Krishna consciousness was not favorable. And therefore, in spite of his always thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, he was considered a demon. And Krishna at last killed him. Of course, anyone who is killed by Krishna attains salvation immediately, but that is not the aim of the pure devotee. The pure devotee does not even want salvation. He does not want to be transferred even to the highest planet, Goloka Vrindavana. His only objective is to serve Krishna wherever he may be. A devotee of Krishna is friendly to everyone. Therefore, it is said here that he has no enemy. Nirvairaha. How is this? A devotee situated in Krishna consciousness knows that only devotional service to Krishna can relieve a person from all the problems of life. He has personal experience of this, and therefore he wants to introduce this system, Krishna consciousness, into human society. There are many examples in history of devotees of the Lord who risked their lives for spreading of God consciousness. The favorite example is Lord Jesus Christ. He was crucified by the non-devotees, but he sacrificed his life for spreading God consciousness. Of course, it would be superficial to understand that he was killed. Similarly, in India, also, there are many examples such as Haridas Thakura and Prahlad Maharaja. Why such risk? Because they wanted to spread Krishna consciousness and it is difficult. A Krishna conscious person knows that if a man is suffering, it is due to his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. Therefore, the highest benefit one can render to human society is relieving one's neighbor from all material problems. In such a way, a pure devotee is engaged in the service of the Lord. Now, we can imagine how merciful Krishna is to those engaged in his service, risking everything for him. Therefore, it is certain that such persons must reach the supreme planet after leaving the body. In summary, the universal form of Krishna, which is a temporary manifestation, and the form of time which devours everything, and even the form of Vishnu four-handed, have all been exhibited by Krishna. Thus, Krishna is the origin of all these manifestations. It is not that Krishna is a manifestation of the original Vishwarupa or Vishnu. Krishna is the origin of all forms. There are hundreds and thousands of Vishnus, but for a devotee, no form of Krishna is important but the original form, two-handed Shyama Sundara. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that those who are attached to the Shyama Sundara form of Krishna in love and devotion can see him always within their heart and cannot see anything else. One should understand, therefore, that the purport of this 11th chapter is that the form of Krishna is essential and supreme. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and the matter of the universal form.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Very well. Thank you, Anisha Mataji. Very nicely you read. So here, very clearly it is mentioned, right, that a devotee only aspires to see the supreme personality of Godhead in his original form, which is Shama Sundar. And even more than that, a devotee does not aspire to see the Lord. The devotee aspires to work in a way that the Lord wants to see the devotee, right? So in that way, it is mentioned here that the original form of the Lord is that form of Lord Shama Sundar. And the devotee always aspires to serve the Lord in any of the capacity, whatever service the Lord wants him to do, which we get to know through our gurus, right? That's how we know what is the service that is pleasing to the Supreme Lord. So according to our interest, according to our capacity, according to our skills, right, we need to engage in the service of the Lord in a way that's pleasing to Guru and Gauranga. When we please our Guru, we automatically please Gauranga. All right, Nagavani Mataji's hand is up. So we will do 12.1 and close. And the verse for today will also be 12.1. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me share my screen and then we will go on to chapter number 12. Okay, chapter 12. This is the most important chapter. Like whatever we've been talking in chapter number 11, devotional service is most important. Devotional service is most important. So let's look at 12.1. What is Arjuna asking, right? Even after having been entirely clarified by Lord Shri Krishna, devotional service is the highest. What is Arjuna asking? Yes. Nagavani Mataji, are you able to unmute yourself?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam to all.
Go ahead, Mataji. Please read this verse. Shobha Mataji, if you're around, this is the verse for memorization.
संस्कृत का श्लोक नीचे करो ना प्लीज.
हाँ.
Arjuna
अपना copy है Mataji. Next time, please have your own copy of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. Hey. एवं सतत युक्ता ये भक्तास्त्वां पर्युपासते ये चाप्यक्षरम् अव्यक्तं तेषां के योगवित्तमाः.
Synonyms, word to word translation.
Yeah. Synonyms. Word to word. Uvacha Arjuna said, evam, thus, satata, always, yuktaha, engaged, ye, those who, bhakta, devotees, tvam, you, paryupasate, properly worship, ye, those who, cha, also, api, again, aksharam, avyaktam, the manifested, tesham, of them, ke, who, yoga, yoga vittamaha, the yoga vittamaha, beyond the senses.
Yoga vittamaha, the most perfect in the knowledge of yoga. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Arjuna inquired which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested. Purport. Srila Prabhupada ke dwara, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So we will read the purport in our tomorrow session. So today we started off this chapter. We will meditate in this week on 12.1. What is the question that Arjuna is asking? What is considered more perfect? Right? Those who are engaged in a devotional service or those who worship the impersonal Brahman? The answer has already been given in the previous chapter, and Prabhupada has explained it in a almost a 3-4 page purport. But why is Arjuna asking the same question again? Right? That we will continue tomorrow after reading Prabhupada's purport of verse 1. Then we will read verse number 2. So today we will contemplate on verse 1. Right? What is more important? And we will read Prabhupada's purport. And tomorrow we will read verse number 2, where Krishna begins to answer this query of Arjuna. And tomorrow we will contemplate on verse number 2. So this week we will do 12.1 and 12.2. So today we will do only 12.1. Tomorrow we will do 12.2. Right? And Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as we study teachings of Lord Chaitanya, we will meditate on 12.1 and 12.2, where Krishna is going to completely declare it is not possible to understand me except by the process of devotional service. So on that note, we thank Nagavani Mataji. Mataji, please join us tomorrow. We will start with you. Start reading the purport. If you are there, we will start with you. Right? So thank you very much. We have new devotees who have joined us today, who have joined us after a long time. I wouldn't say new devotees. Nisha Mataji has joined us after a long time. Nagavani Mataji after a long time. And our regular devotees, Harjeet Mataji, Deval Mataji, etc. I would request if you can switch on your cameras. Right? You're all there regularly. Madhurima Mataji, Rishabhanu Kanya Mataji, all of you all. Jyoti Mataji, I've never seen you. I think you are very regular these days. I see you, but I'm not able to even place a face to your name. And Manasi Kulkarni Mataji perhaps has joined for the first time. So we'll do 2 minutes Harinam Sankirtan. Deval Mataji and other devotees are very kindly showing us their darshan. So I'll request other devotees also to quickly share your darshan. We'll do Harinam Sankirtan for 2 minutes. I hope everyone had a wonderful Rath Yatra celebrations yesterday. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatyaadishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshana, Jaya Balagopal, Jai Radha Mata, Jaya Radha Sham Sundar, Jaya Radha Ras Bihari, Jai Radha Govinda, Jai Radha Madan Mohan, Jaya Radha Govinda, Jaya Radha Gopinath, Jai Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Pancha Tattva, Jaya Radhe Sham, Jai Vrindavan Dham, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Mayapur Dham, Jaya Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Gurudev, Gurudev, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shri Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So except for two devotees, everyone else is switching on the cameras. So happy to see all of you. Nagaveni Mataji, please. Oh, three devotees. Okay, please do switch on your camera next time if possible. Very wonderful to have the darshan of Moshmi Mataji, Nisha Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Anusha Mataji, Deval Mataji, Harjeet Mataji, Madhuri Mataji, Karpagoli Mataji, Jyoti Mataji. Thank you very much. I'm just seeing you for the first time today. Thank you very much for joining in every day. Rajneesh Prabhu, Vanmali Prabhu, Anjana Mataji, and all the devotees. Thank you very much for joining in. Ancha Kalpatarobhyasya Kripasindubhya Evacha, Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada Shri Gurudev ki Jai. So sincere gratitude to all of you devotees, Harjeet Mataji, Deval Mataji, Madhuri Mataji, and all the wonderful Shobha Mataji, of course, all the devotees. Thank you all very much. Moshmi Mataji, all of you all, thank you for joining every day. Anusha Mataji, it's because of all of you that we have actually reached the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We've almost, we are reaching the last section, 13 to 18. So thank you very much. And of course, we are doing, we're on the last stages of teaching of Lord Chaitanya also. After that, we will start the Krishna book, the most desired book. I love that book because, you're not supposed to read the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, but Prabhupada is so merciful, right? The first day when we come into ISKCON, devotees actually try to give us a Krishna book, along with the Japa Mala. Why? Because it is important to understand Krishna, but it is important to understand Krishna the right way through the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. So we will read the Krishna book, trying to understand Krishna who is very, very difficult to understand. Right? We will try to understand Krishna through the divine words, transcendental words of Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Nagavini Mataji, we will start with you for sure tomorrow, 12.1 purport. All right? And we will also want to see our darshan tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Madhuri Mataji, we meet immediately after this. Hare Krishna.